This is the ITV News at 5:30 with Sascha Williams.
The preacher told a tribunal he'd be left stateless if his British nationality was withdrawn. Also on the programme this morning. Hello, good morning, welcome to the programme. The radical Muslim cleric Abu Hamza has won a legal fight to keep his British passport. Because he's already been stripped of his Egyptian citizenship, he told an immigration tribunal that losing his British nationality as well would leave him stateless. But the preacher's legal problems are far from over. He now faces extradition to America for trial on a string of terror charges. Other news: in the grieving family of a volunteer soldier killed in Afghanistan have watched in tearful silence as his body was returned to Britain. Sapper William Blanchard's wife, his 2 children, his 6 brothers and his parents stood together as his coffin was brought through Wootton Bassett. From there, Rupert Evelyn reports. An investigation's underway into yesterday's rail accident in Surrey. 8 people were injured, 2 of them seriously, when a cement mixer lorry crashed off a bridge and fell onto a train on the line below. The South West train service from Guildford to London was passing through Oxshott when it happened. Damon Green was at the scene. It's Damon Green reporting from Surrey there. The former Immigration Minister Phil Wallace has lost his seat as an MP and been suspended from the Labour Party. It's because a special court found he smeared his Lib Dem opponent at the last election. There's now likely to be a by-election in his Oldham East constituency and Mr Wallace won't be allowed to be a candidate. From Oldham, here's our senior political correspondent Chris Shipp. Police investigating the murder of millionairess Joanna Brown have found a body at Windsor Great Park. The BBC faces more disrupted news programmes today as staff continue their strike over pensions. Some of the corporation's biggest names are refusing to cross union picket lines and stand-ins have been presenting prime-time news bulletins, as Nina Nanar now reports. Well, now, a popular way of getting rid of old clothes while at the same time helping others is by leaving garments in bags on the doorstep for charity workers to collect. But how much money do some collectors actually pass on to good causes? Neil Bradford of ITV Anglia News has found disturbing signs that the private profit is behind part of the charity rag trade. Well, time now for a quick look at the morning's papers, starting with The Guardian, which says evidence of alleged systematic brutal mistreatment of Iraqi prisoners at a secret British military interrogation centre has emerged during High Court proceedings brought by 200 former inmates. The picture there is actually of a motorcyclist cycling near Mount Merapi in Indonesia, which has started erupting again. It's covered in ash there. And the deadly ash cloud also on the front page of The Times. But their top story is that 6 prisons are facing closure under government plans to send thousands fewer criminals to jails. The paper claims 5,000 cells and 10,000 jobs will be lost in England and Wales as Ken Clarke prepares to enact a huge budget cut. The Independent goes claiming that the BBC chief Mark Thompson is facing a crisis of confidence. It's saying some of his key decisions are being questioned by some of the senior journalists at the strike-hit corporation. Shameful, the headline of the Daily Mail, commenting on the behaviour of 2 Labour MPs. One, as we've already heard, the former Immigration Minister Phil Wallace, who's been stripped of his seat, and also his backbench colleague Phil Farrelly, who the paper says is facing an investigation after an apparent scuffle. That's with a newspaper vendor. The Daily Express going with what's our top story, the fact that Abu Hamza has fought and kept his British passport. The Telegraph goes with comments from Prince Andrew, who apparently has attacked the Ministry of Defence and called it hopeless because it failed to order armoured vehicles that could save soldiers' lives. Now, his remarks were made on a visit to the factory that actually manufactures the range of vehicles. And the picture there, another royal, it's the Queen who's bidding farewell to the Ark Royal. The Sun goes with allegations about Arsene Wenger's personal life. And the Mirror goes with some X Factor behind-the-scenes gossip. That's ahead of the show on ITV tonight. That's the way the papers look. Now going to abroad, and Burma holds its first elections in 20 years tomorrow, though few believe they will be free or fair. The last vote in 1990 was won by the pro-democracy leader Aung San Suu Kyi. But the army ignored the results and put her under house arrest. As our correspondent Angus Walker found out, the army's doing all it can to make sure tomorrow's vote leaves it still in effective power. An erupting volcano in Indonesia has killed at least 100 people and left huge areas covered in thick ash. Merapi, which means fire mountain, has been erupting for 10 days. The authorities have imposed a 12-mile exclusion zone around the volcano and dozens of villages have been evacuated. Will Mott has more. Now, he was definitely caught in a trap and certainly couldn't walk out, but one of the Chilean miners didn't let that get him down. Edison Peña's rendition of some of Elvis Presley's rock and roll classics during his 69 days underground helped entertain his workmates. And now he's appeared on American TV to prove just how good a job he did. Here's Robert Moore. Well, moving on to football now, and Bolton entertained Tottenham in the lunchtime kickoff. And the numbers drawn in last night's Euro Millions lottery were 21, 23, 33, 40 and 50. The lucky stars were 4 and 5. But Camelot say no one in the UK won the £25 million jackpot. This is the ITV News at 5:30. Our top story this morning: the jailed Muslim cleric Abu Hamza has won a legal fight to keep his British passport. Because he's already been stripped of his Egyptian citizenship, he persuaded an immigration tribunal that losing his British nationality as well would leave him stateless. But the preacher's legal problems are far from over. He now faces extradition to America for trial on terror charges. The former Immigration Minister Phil Wallace has lost his seat as an MP and been suspended from the Labour Party. An investigation is underway into yesterday's rail accident in Surrey. 8 people were injured, 2 of them seriously, when a cement mixer lorry crashed off a railway bridge and fell onto a train on the line below. The passenger service from Guildford to London was passing through Oxshott when it happened. Damon Green has been to the scene. That's Damon Green reporting there. Police investigating the murder of missing millionairess Joanna Brown have found a body at Windsor Great Park. And finally, a new arrival at a wildlife park in the Scottish Highlands has had a rather frosty reception. A 2-year-old polar bear called Walker has been brought over from Holland as a companion for the park's resident bear, a mature female called Mercedes. But as John Gilbert now reports, their meeting was far from love at first sight. And that's the way the news is looking this morning. We're back at the same time tomorrow. For now, though, it's time to say goodbye and do have a very good weekend.